reality is that the government's going to shut down in a big way, one way or another, eventually, when the U.S. national debt is no longer going to be allowed to increase because they're not going to be able to raise the debt ceiling because there's not going to be a demand for U.S. federal Treasury notes. They won't be able to sell the bonds on the open international markets. And you've also seen moves by both China and Russia to divest themselves of the dollar. There's also a move by China to bring the oil markets over to China and have the price of oil in something other than the U.S. dollar, which actually that's the whole system. The U.S. petrodollar system is the whole system that's holding up the dollar, the demand for dollar, that oil is traded in dollars itself, right? So what happens, as they're, it's like the dollar is kind of dying of 1,000 cuts, one piece at a time. Yeah, at one point at a time, the British pound was the world reserve currency for a long period of time. It's almost like it's out of your mind now because you're not thinking about how strong Britain was in the 19th century, or even in the first half of the 20th century. World War II basically was World War I and also World War II, especially between those two World War wars. Britain really got knocked out of the loop. They're no longer the world reserve currency, and that was Bretton Woods. But it looks like the end game is coming for the United States too. I know they're talking about how they're spending money on the wall or illegals or whatever the hell it is, right? But the reality is, I know what's going on with the government shutdown. It's also slowing down. Well, first off, there's not going to be any what do you call it? The IRS refund checks going out, which they're not really going out just right yet anyway. You know what I mean? But I don't know how long this shutdown is going to be anyway, but probably not that long. But there's not going to be much delay in that. But that would be one thing that doesn't go out if there's a shutdown that continues. IRS refund checks, and also about food assistance. You know, that could be a problem too. But what's going to happen when the whole thing just comes to a critical mass and they're not going to be able to raise the debt ceiling? Now you're talking about a real permanent shutdown. Then what's going to happen then? How are they going to get out of it? Probably the inflationary strategy, maybe. That might be. That's usually how most governments do get out of the debt. They just inflate their currency to oblivion. And, well, I don't know if it's going to go that bad, but, there'll probably be some serious inflation actually at the consumer price index level. We've actually seen inflation in investor class level assets with the quantitative easing. That's where the inflation actually went, but it never really got down into the consumer level, so the consumer price index has stayed low. But, if you look at the economy itself, it's only really strong in the stock markets. And what is the stock markets? It's, the pharmaceutical companies, the tech companies took a major hit, Facebook and all that stuff. Amazon, I don't know. Jeff Bezos taking a hit personally with the divorce. That's a side note. But, you're talking about this shutdown and all this kind of, it's amazing. What I really think is going on, to tell you the truth, honestly, what I really think is going on, the politicians are basically just playing their game. They're playing their card till the wheels fall off the wagon. And nobody really knows when that's going to happen, right? It seems like, way back when, the debt went over $1 trillion under Ronnie Reagan. He was big for the, some kind of, I don't know, whatever it means to be conservative, but, he spent so much money in, during his time on the military-industrial complex. Even him, the hero of the conservatives, was not whittling down the debt. Now, Trump actually, honestly, if Trump was not doing the bidding of the military-industrial complex by adding so much to the national debt, he's added a lot to it, too. He would have made too many enemies, and he definitely would have been gone one way or the other. I don't think the guy's a bad guy, at all. But he's got to make compromises with who he allies himself with, because the swamp is, you're surrounded by the swamp. You're going to have to pick a couple swamp monsters you want to ally with to get the other swamp monsters. That's basically how it works. Sorry, you're in the real world. That's the way it goes. Nothing's going to, no knight in shining armor is going to come through and fix everything for you, because you, the people, are too stupid for so many decades allowing this crap to happen. Well, that's what happened. And actually, if you look at so many elections like, Ocasio-Cortez, I'm wondering what's going on in the Bronx, man. He must have failed. It must be what is that core curriculum, whatever the hell it is that they pushing in schools today. That's probably how she got elected. God, she probably say, well, it's okay. We'll just print more money. Yeah, sure. Anyway, I'll go print some money too. You let me print some money? I'll do that. Anyway, but the deal is that with this, the debt going up. Actually, I've read some years ago the point of no return, period, is $24 trillion. That's an analysis. I forgot the analysis was done by, but it wasn't some scary drama conspiracy people. It was legit, and they say that's the point of no return. It's like you're not going to. It's just going to implode. And I say this is all by design. Part of like even this issue with the wall and the national identity and all that kind of stuff. If you don't have any borders, you don't have a nation. So what's the that's the other strategy. Dissolving all nations into one world. That's part of this national debt thing. The politicians know it too. Some, I don't know how many of them know it. Maybe some are that stupid they don't even know that. I know Pelosi knows it. She's all part of it. But they're riding the wagon till the freaking wheels fall off. They're playing their game. Honestly, though, I think the politicians are just pawns, and they could very easily be sacrificed by the people that are really controlling and pulling the strings. Who they are, the people that are controlling the strings, I don't know. I know everybody has that name George Soros out there, and they always hear the name George Soros. But the reality is that I got this actually from Judicial Watch. So if you want to look at Judicial Watch's website, they'll tell you that every single policy that George Soros is for is actually backed by, quote unquote, the U.S. government, but basically the ones that are real policy makers. The ones that advise the president, no matter who the president is, right? And a guy like George, giving him an example because he's the one everybody knows, but there's loads of them out there. If you figure this guy, for him to win so many times and keep his wealth like the way it is, he's got inside information. There's no doubt about it. He'll know what's going to happen ahead of time on certain events, and he'll bet accordingly. I don't want to give any examples. I did give him some in some other videos, but I don't want to give any other examples. BP 911 and whatever. He knew about all that stuff. Anyway, Mandalay Bay, Vegas. So that's the reality of it. Is that the politicians aren't really all that. Not all of them are really that dumb, but all of them are just playing a game until the whole thing implodes. They're just grabbing whatever they got and they're going to be out of there. They might get sacrificed. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. I don't know what kind of dramatic event is going to occur when we really hit, critical, can't raise the debt ceiling. What's going to happen then. These talking heads in the politics aren't going to matter. And that's one reason you should really be, not a drama queen prepper like, the sky's going to fall. I'm talking about you should really be more down to earth, a little more hands-on, have some tools, have some fuel, have some extra food, have a way to, power up a generator or something, that type of stuff. You should. I mean, it always comes in handy, if a telephone pole gets knocked down by a windstorm or a truck running into it and your power goes out or something like that, or you have an earthquake if you're in California, or you have an ice storm if you're up there in Maine. It's always good to have some preps, But aside from that, if we ever hit the debt crisis for real, and we will. I mean, I'm not going to knock Trump. I was way more suspicious of him in the beginning. I realize he is legit. He's got to make compromises, and he's not 100% saint. I know that, and he doesn't know everything about everything because he's a real estate developer from New York City. He's smart. But, even smart people don't know everything about everything. That's the way the hell it is. I mean, I'm pretty smart, but I don't know nothing about NBA or football or who plays what. I don't follow that stuff, okay? I don't know what Hollywood actress is doing this and that. I don't care. It's like not my forte. Same with Trump. I mean, he's got, he's a very intelligent guy in his area. So he doesn't know everything about everything. But reality is he's got to compromise with some of the swamp monsters to go after the worst swamp monsters. And, you're just not going to get this huggy-feely thing that he promised you the world about. I also think that, What's going to stop immigration to the United States is when this thing blows up, this debt clock. Because I look at it, say they put the wall up and they go, the wall's there and nobody can come in. Well, first time you get some president that has open borders policy, you're going to say, okay, the wall's there, open the gates. So what the hell good is the wall, right? You know? But what's going to stop immigration policy is that, if there's not going to be any money for anybody, that's really why. What do you think people are coming over here for? They're gonna work. They want to come here to, do twice as much work as where they came from. No, they're coming here because there's something here, and this debt is what's paying it, right? So what's gonna happen when the debt goes and it stops? The clock goes. The battery ran out. Basically, you think there's right now we got like a quantum lithium battery that's running this timer on this U.S. national debt clock, and that's why it keeps going. But it's got a limit, It's not solar battery charged. Now that could be an out. That could be an out outside of the, knocking the problem out. Actually, if we had free energy from, just as a side note, I read, not that this technology ever be released in a million years, but I read in there was one of the Scandinavian countries. I think it was Sweden. They found a way to store the sun's energy in like a liquid, and it could stay in there for so many years and just be tapped into. Again, not like solar power with batteries, but a lot more efficient than that. That ain't gonna happen because I says the dollar's basically propped up with the petrodollar system. And a lot of things I don't. Maybe I it's like scary that I can't even say 99% of the stuff I want to say on here because I really don't know why. They put this yellow icon sometimes. I don't get too many of them, but once in a while I do. But I'll tell you one thing. One of the things, even like where the troops were pulled out of Syria, one of the deals is why that Syria thing is so sensitive is that Assad is allied with Russia, but for a specific reason. Russia doesn't want it. Assad says, I won't not allow a pipeline to go through my country from Qatar. Because you know what happened then? Russia would lose all their business with Europe because Qatar would be able to, is that how you say that word? Qatar, whatever, with the Q, Qatar, would be able to pipe oil and natural gas to Europe and undercut the price of Russia. And Russia's biggest customer right now is Europe and China. If they lost their customer Europe to oil coming out of Qatar, because it could be piped versus transported on a bunch of oil tankers, which is too expensive because then the price goes up and then Russia oil's cheaper and natural gas. If they could do that and they could pipe that oil through Syria, Russian economy is going to go kablutz because that's where they get most of their cash infusion from the outside. Selling oil and natural gas. But then again, every time we freaking try to keep knocking out this Assad guy, you know what happens? You're creating friction between the two biggest superpowers in the world. You don't want to do that. That's not smart. Because you want to see real estate values in New York City go down to zero real quick. Piss off Russia. That's just a side note, okay? That's just a side note, common sense thing. But anyway, just going to tell you that this new, the debt crisis and all this garbage and, the shutdown of the government, it's going to happen one way or the other. And what the hell's $5 billion out of this stupid number anyway? Nothing, Democrats. Nancy Pelosi, man. Chucky Schumer. I know. They used to say that they liked the wall before years ago. I don't even know what the hell's the matter with these people. Why they flip flop on these issues. But I always look at it like the wall. I don't know. I look at it like this. Like I said, if they got a wall up there and they get Nancy, say you had Nancy Pelosi for president, not that she would be, but say somebody like that, they just say they'd open up the gates. That's the hell with that. The wall ain't doing nothing. But what's going to stop? What's going to stop everything and clear out all this stuff? This debt clock goes bang, stop. They can't raise the debt ceiling anymore. That's going to obliterate anything, everything. The whole 9 yards. I don't know exactly what's going to happen then. I mean, these retired people on pensions and Social Security and all this other crap, they're going to be SOL too. All of them. I don't give a crap how hard you worked your whole entire life. It's going to be gone. If you work for the city, you were retired military, retired law enforcement, you're a retired politician, none of you is going to get nothing. It's going to go back to old school. You might as well freaking get a little tractor with a backhoe on it and start freaking learning how to till the soil right now. If you figure this thing's going to be coming up soon, because that's going to be probably the whole freaking solution is going to go right back to agriculture again. Hey, you think about it. What the hell do you need? Food, clothing, right? Food is agriculture, right? Water, that's a well. Heat. Well, in the case of Florida, you need air conditioning. Crap, I think I'll be out of here by then. I'll be up in Tennessee before this thing blows up. But, I gotta work on that. It's the next project. I have to move my flagpole up there, too. Anyway, but, the deal is, the whole 9 yards is gonna go kaputz. All the way. All the way. That's why it don't even matter. Trump's gonna save America, make America. We're going broke. You know what I mean? We're going broke, man. What the hell? What's he gonna do with this thing, man? How do you make this debt clock go the other way? Huh? How do you do that? I don't know. Tell you the truth, it ain't going the other way. It's actually going this way faster and faster, even under Trump. I know he's doing the best he can. I know. But like I said, I don't really get it. I don't get it. I don't get it exactly, but I can tell you, I do get what the end result's going to be. We're not going to even need a wall if there's nothing over here. Who the hell's going to want to come here? That's going to be the end of it. That's one way I look at it. And all these politicians that are trying to get elected, they're not going to want to be elected because anybody who's a politician, when this debt clock stops, is going to be the focus of all the hate in the world. Do you want to be that? Now politicians, they get in these jobs because they want, hey, love me, I talk a certain way, I'm going to promise you the world. Remember back in the day, they used to say chicken in every pot. Now they say, I don't know what they say, free education, free health care, tax the rich 100% and give it to the poor. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? And that's what you get de Blasio for, right? Over in New York City. Anyway, over now. Said enough, but that's just the reality of it. I wish I knew the exact date when this whole thing, the wheels are going to fall off the wagon, and the government just goes. I know they told me the point of no return is 24 trillion, but that's not, even if that's an accurate statement 100%, that doesn't mean that's the point of, everything stops. That just means that you're not going to be able to get out of the hole, no way. But it still can continue. My estimate is that this is actually going to happen probably in the mid 2020s, where it just comes to a serious crisis. I don't know who the hell. I'm not sure if Trump is going to make it in 2020 or not. Maybe not, because I think they're going to pull the rug out on the stock market, because there's only a few companies really making the whole Dow average go way the hell up. It's a bunch of garbage, man. And actually, that market doesn't really reflect how well people are doing, because most people not only don't own any equities, they don't even have money in their bank accounts worth of crap either. So that's the reality of it. So, how's that going to work, right? So, this is a lot of money. So, I know the game. Hey, you're in debt to the bankers. Well, that was the deal with Andrew Jackson and Nicholas Biddle way back in the early 1800s, right? He stopped the U.S. Central Bank charter, didn't renew it, and they almost tried to take him out. Whatever. But, I can't comment too much because, they don't. The guys in Tech Valley don't like you to tell too much on the bad guys that they probably represent. I don't know, but even all this stuff that's going on here, when everything goes upside down, it could change the fortunes of some of the wealthiest people, and they could get upside down real quick too. That's how things change rapidly. There's been a lot of people, even in Europe, at one point in time, they used to be the count or the duke or whatever of this and that, and they had all this wealth, and they got it. They turned it to nothing too. I mean, a lot of people forget that stuff because it was maybe a couple hundred years ago, but that's how it happens. And a lot of times people don't realize, even the people that made a lot of money didn't have the money in the beginning. The Vanderbilts and Rockefellers, they didn't really come from, I mean, John D. Rockefeller's father was nothing but a guy that was, I think he was, snake oil salesman or something, of medicines or something. I think it was his father or one of his relatives. But, it's like they don't, it starts someplace. It starts someplace. Then once they get established, it can continue. But, it doesn't take much to upset the apple cart. There's always unexpected circumstances that can happen. And actually, they're playing some serious hard games with this stupid national debt. I know the overall pattern is to try to push the United States into a global government because, we're going to be too broke to pay anything and function as a government. So there'll be a compromise. And, I'm not sure how that compromise is exactly going to work, but, if you own the checkbook, basically, you own them. So in other words, if it's a United Nations checkbook that owns, if it's a global government that owns the United States debt, hey, we're going to be forced into, right? Submission. That's how it works with anything. Even works that way at the state level, the county level, the city level, and all that sort of garbage. The money rules everything. Money rules everything. And actually, if you look at what the real goal of the military and law enforcement is, actually is to protect the money interest. That's the reality of it. Even though most of them don't freaking realize that. But that's the reality of it. Anyway, over and out. This is the real government shutdown is not, this is like a minor thing right now. It's going to go away. But eventually, some years from now, and it ain't going to be that many years from now, there's going to be a serious, permanent, semi-permanent government shutdown, whereby they're going to have to really permanently shut down parts of the government and some of the programs of the government. And right now the big crisis is over the wall and immigration and all that. But immigration's going to stop if they can't pay for health care and all this kind of stuff. It's not going to be around. Why the hell would you want to come here? What the hell, if the government's not helping you out with all this stuff, why would you come here? It's just another freaking spot on the earth, Why would you come here? Nobody would come here. That would be the end of it. Anyway, over that.